Hey, good evening, all. We've had the arrival of daylight savings, and with that means an end to the looks at Venus and Mars and all that. It's just going to be daylight now by the time we do the webcast. And this is a look outside just about 25 or 30 minutes ago, looking out to the southwest here. A little bit of Texas sunlight or sunset. And here's what we got going on around the country. We've got a couple of winter storm warnings out, one up for the area of northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, and also out here in the northeast U.S. So got quite a bit of weather in the forecast over the next couple of days, and let's see if we've got the newest maximum temperatures in. We do not. So we'll head right into the 500 millibar heights and ice attacks. So we've got this persistent northwesterly flow, and this has kind of been in place ever since mid-January. We've had kind of a persistent ridge and a trough out over the west coast or the east coast, and because of that, we advect a lot of cold Canadian air southeastward, and we have just enough westerly component in place to bring Pacific fronts across the northern Rockies and into the northeastern U.S. So this kind of sets the stage for a wintry, snowy winter in that part of the U.S. Yeah, we should look at some of the upper air maps. This is the SPC experimental upper air charts. You can go to this spc.noaa.gov exper, and we've got this upper air chart link. And these charts seem to come out only about maybe 30 minutes after the radiosonde observation. So what do we have going on right now? Let's check it out. 850 millibar chart taken, let's see here. I think this actually may be old data that they have posted here because we're coming up on 13th at 0Z. Let me just double check that because I've seen this problem with the max temperatures too. So I'm going to go to METAR NOAA. And we actually never showed you much of how to decode METAR observations. This can come in handy sometimes. Yeah, I can see we're coming up on 13th at 0Z. So there we go. So let's check out some of the surface obs, and maybe I'll pull up a few METARs here and we'll take a look at that. This is the next weather system coming through the northern plains right here. There's the leading edge of the cold front from about Yankton, South Dakota, down through the Lincoln area, then back to about Garden City, and then to Lamar and Trinidad. So not very cold air behind that, really. You can see just upper 40s and even a few 50-degree readings, but we do have this band of snow right here along that front. So if we actually draw out the fronts, we're probably going to come up with something like that. This is that kind of like a little Alberta clipper coming southeastward. And let's see, a good observation to pull up. Maybe we'll do Colby, Kansas. Let me find the identifier for that. That's going to be CBK. So we can actually use this METAR interface to look at the changes in the meteorological variables right there. So we can see it looks like the front has probably come through right around 21Z. So about 3 to 4 p.m. here. So with that frontal passage, we've had winds come from westerly to northwesterly, gusting to about 33 knots there. And a bit of a moderate fall in temperatures there. So that's a good interface you can use to kind of track frontal passages, especially when they're going through the mountains of the Rockies right there. You can pull up a few stations around there and look for changes, sudden changes in the meteor sequence there. Okay, so we don't have any new upper air data, so we're going to go to we're just going to use the 12Z data. So we can see a very weak southerly flow here on the west side of this high pressure area. Little weak polar high over Texas right there. We've got this northerly flow around the east side. And we can see this clockwise turning here around this low. If this high was a little bit deeper, reached further into the Gulf, we would actually have some return flow coming out of the Gulf and maybe the development of a low-level jet. In fact, it's kind of interesting, that 45-knot wind right there at North Platte. It's a little bit reminiscent of a low-level jet, but you can see that very strong thermal contrast right through here. So this is a little bit of that baroclinicity we have in place. And that front we've got moving southeast along that boundary, just feeding along that thermal zone right there. And as you might guess, that's heading directly for this area where we've got a very strong temperature contrast between 13 below in the Quad Cities and 4 above at 850 millibars there at Oklahoma City. And another way we can visualize that is on the thickness chart. We can draw out the fronts here real quick. That's the next frontal system coming southeast. And this is responsible for that winter storm warning we have there in northern Iowa. And eventually, as that moves out into the Atlantic and couples with the baroclinicity down in this region, that's going to move up the coast, and we're going to see that winter storm coming together there in New York. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go straight to the dynamics here. This is the 500 millibar heights and vorticity. And I'll pull up this chart real quick, and we'll take a look at the chat, see what's going on right there. Yeah, I did come on kind of unexpectedly tonight. I thought I was going to kind of take a break tonight, but I'm going to reschedule that probably for tomorrow. So, break tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Tuesday. Let's see, we got Mark here under a winter storm watch there, possibly 16 inches. Michael Burrell, 13, is here. Alexi and Mark and Ahmed. Ryan Toomies is here. Jason Boggs. Ryan mentions a good amount of rain. Put out most of the fires. Yeah, that's good news for sure. Eddie W., evening everybody from a snowy eastern central Iowa. Adam Davis says a little late tonight. Sarah Wood is here. Brett Dean, hello all. 28 inches, heavy snow expected starting tomorrow night. Sarah Wood says winter weather advisory in northern Indiana. Up to 5 inches of snow there by tomorrow night. And Jeff Lockwood mentions ADDS is his favorite METAR chart, and also the EDD platform developed by National Weather Service Charleston. I haven't seen the EDD. I'm going to have to look for that. The ADDS, that's going to be the aviation weather. If I kind of switch back to that, I can go under this METAR menu. By the way, we're at aviationweathercenter.gov. They've got this interface here for looking at METAR data. So that's one option. And you can, of course, adjust that using the parameters down here. And there's also this old-fashioned UCAR-styled METAR plots, and you can pull that up and look at the charts that way. So two different options there. And that system we have it out in the northern plains. There it is right there, showing on the UCAR style. Old school plots. Actually, that extends all the way down in Kansas right there. So, yeah, quite a potent system there coming in from the northwest. And let's check out the dynamics. There's the 0Z chart, and you can see it's coupled pretty well with this wave. And we've seen a lot of channel dynamics over the past few days, and finally we're getting an advection lobe where the vorticity crosses the contours. So this signifies some much stronger upper level lift. And this is basically a quasi-geostrophic disturbance working its way southeastward. And if you want to look that up, another word for that is QGD, quasi-geostrophic disturbance. That's just a fancy name for a baroclinic system. Okay, so what's going to happen over the next few days? We're going to see that rapidly move eastward into the central Mississippi Valley and into the southeast U.S. So a lot of the strong upper forcing is going to be concentrated on Georgia and South Carolina by Tuesday. Looks like Monday night into Tuesday. So that's when things are really be coming together here on the Atlantic coast. And you can see that wave rapidly moves northeast, and another wave coming in here. This looks to be associated more with a jet streak. And we've also got some lift back behind the system, back in here. So also the convective cold core lift back over the Great Lakes there on Wednesday, early Wednesday. And that'll all move out into the northeastern U.S. on Wednesday, going into Thursday. Okay, so after that passes, we're going to get this ridging moving in. And that'll quickly progress eastward. Another wave coming in across Minnesota on Saturday. Then things look pretty quiet over the weekend, apparently, except on the west coast. Then we get this very deep system coming in here on Tuesday the 21st into the California, Nevada area. And that's kind of a negative tilt system, and it's kind of digging southeast, so that will take aim on Texas in about 9 to 10 days. That'll be your next big chance for severe weather here in the Great Plains. And it looks like a double shot with this next wave coming in towards the 25th. All right, so time to head into the forecast, and we're going to start out with the NAM. That's more of a short-range model, and it's better at handling some of the convective structures here. Let me get that set up right there. So there's our North Plains system heading southeast. This is about 21Z, so obviously this has moved forward a little bit. So there's right now. And then over the next 12 hours, that's going to move quickly into Missouri. And the model appears to be breaking out some fairly good snow around St. Louis, down I-44 towards the Rolla, and maybe even the Branson area there overnight. Very intense, fast-moving system. And normally for the heaviest snowfall, we look on the left side of the track, and the track is running kind of like this. We focus on this area right here for the heavy snowfall. So if we run that back, we're looking at this area here, all the way down to Rockford and Chicago, Champaign, Indianapolis. And we can see the system does warm up a little bit here. Can see a little bit more rain getting mixed in, so probably getting a little bit of latent heat release, some warm air advection working into the system, and that's warming that up. But here comes the Atlantic portion of the system coming together early Tuesday. That'll be coupling with the upper air dynamics coming in that we just saw, and there it goes up the coast. So yeah, this is developing pretty early actually on Tuesday here. Maybe not waiting all the way until Wednesday. And there it goes up the coast. And we see that the rain-snow line has moved a little bit south compared to the previous model runs. So we're looking at just off the coast, off Long Island, off New Jersey, and right through the Delmarva area right there. So the heaviest snow, that looks to be concentrated probably through the New York City area, probably up through Boston, in through Massachusetts, and up through New Hampshire there. So a pretty intense system there coming through that area. If I do get a chance, I will run a webcast maybe later tomorrow night, since we do have this big system coming in. So maybe when I get home a little bit later tonight, I will fire things up and we'll check this out. So don't worry, I probably will be on later. Okay, so what's happening for, let's see, we're going to look at the GFS for the rest of the week. Looks like we get this other wave come through about midweek, coming along the same path. But it gets kind of hung up by this area of ridging, this high pressure across Indiana, kind of riding over that cold dome. Then we get another system moving through Canada that moves rapidly eastward. A little bit stronger there. This is towards Friday and Saturday. Then, as I mentioned, it's going to be kind of quiet over the weekend. And then here comes the next system coming for Monday and Tuesday. Okay, so let's see here. Things coming together for Texas on Wednesday and Thursday. Possible thunderstorms on that day, Wednesday and Thursday. In fact, GFS breaking out something that looks a little bit like dry line activity right there. But this is about 250 hours out, so we're still going to have to wait to find out what's going to happen with that. So cold air advection back in behind that. A little bit of a cold core coming in through the Rockies. That'll come in through Texas towards the 25th and 26th. And then we get to the end of the model run there. So that appears to be about all I got for tonight. One last look here. Let me check on the chat. Steve Loves God asks any predictions for the end of the month. No, not offhand. I guess all I've got to go with here is the GFS. And if you have anything specific in mind, any locations in mind, maybe I could take a closer look at that going into next week. Maybe over the next couple of days, just bring that up in chat and remind me. Lizard's Lair, thank you for showing New Hampshire. Ryan Toomey's enjoyed the history quiz as well. Indianapolis will get snowed out, possibly. Yeah, certainly. The snowstorm will hammer the East Coast, according to Ryan Toomey's. Airlines canceling flights already, starting tomorrow in heavy blocks. Okay. So yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night. I think it's going to be late. So we're talking probably around midnight or 1 in the morning before I get on, but maybe we'll see you then. Anyway, thanks for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow.